Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, dear students. These days you are learning Stata, which is a software for econometrics. We are going through a series of lectures in understanding how to use Stata for econometrics or business econometrics. So the first lecture in the series was to know how to use Stata, what type of data files you had. We presently have discussed two main commands to know your data. By knowing your data, I mean if you have a data file, whether it is from the web or you have yourself created it, or you are using the files available with Stata, which are shipped with Stata, which are installed with Stata, whatever files you have, first thing you want to know is about the data. What the data is, what is its nature. For example, what are the averages? You need some descriptive statistics. You want to know the data. So we have 4 or 5 basic commands that everyone should know. Everyone means the ones who are using Stata. For example, presently you have discussed commands like describe and list. Let's briefly speak of them. Describe actually only describes what type of data you have. For example, the variable names, you will be seeing the variable names, you will be seeing their labels, you will be seeing their storage type and their display format. Remember that storage type and display format may be different. You may be storing digits, say, up to, say, 15 characters, but you want to display them only up to 10 characters, it is possible. So when you type describe, let me revise 1 or 2 things about describe because they will be used in the forthcoming commands. For example, you can type describe alone. You can type describe with names of specific variables. You can also type describe with a range of variables, that is variable 1 hyphen variable n. So in the same 3 ways you will be using some other commands as well. For example, the first command today would be summarize. You have also used list. List actually lists all the values in the variable that you require, and this list also is used in 3 ways. 1, just simply typing list. 2nd, typing list with specific variables. And 3rd, typing list by specifying a range of variables. So what do describe and list do? They help us in understanding what nature of data is available in the file that is loaded in the memory. So the file on which we'll work today is auto.dta, and you know that it's a file that is installed with Stata, and we use the command sysuse sysuse for opening a file that is installed with Stata. We use the command use if the file is stored on your hard disk that you have yourself created or copied from somewhere. We use web use if we have data on the web and we want to load the file which is available on the web in the memory. But today we are again using the system file that we already have done, and that is auto. We don't need to specify the .dta extension. So we'll type sysuse auto and the file will load in the memory. The indication of loading in the memory is that you have the variable names in the variable window. By default it's on the right side, on the top right. So the first command today which we learn is summarize. It provides summary statistics, and you can give various options, and in various ways you can have some summary statistics or descriptive statistics or descriptive tables about all the variables or the variables you want or the range of variables you want, the same way in which we use describe and list. So as you know, if you type help summarize, you will get a help window which will give you the syntax of summarize, how to use it, its shortcut. For example, even if you type sum, SUM, you will get summarize. So let's see, in a while we'll be seeing what is the shortcut which we can use to type summarize instead of completely typing summarize. What are options that are available? So the help window will give you all this, the syntax, the options that are available, the way to use summarize, and if you scroll down, it will provide you several examples of how to use summarize by using different files that are available on the web or available in your Stata package. So first let's start with the syntax of summarize. You are viewing the syntax on the screen. SU is underlined in the syntax, which means that SU is the minimum that you need to type when you want to type summarize. So even if you type SU, Stata will understanding that you are trying to write summarize. You don't need to write it completely. I prefer to write sum, which makes more sense as summarize. Or you type completely summarize. Then you have square brackets and variable list. Remember that square brackets show that the content in the square brackets is optional. This means you don't need really to type variable list. So if you type summarize and enter, you will get a summary statistics or descriptive table for all the variables loaded in the memory in the file. Next you have a square bracket with if and then square bracket with in. You have been using if and in with previous list commands also. So you can specify them here also. They are optional, so they are in square brackets in the syntax. Square brackets indicate that you may or may not fill in this information. So the next thing you see is weight. So we can assign weights. For example, when we are computing the arithmetic means, we can assign weights, you know that. And then we have a square bracket, comma and options. All options are given after a comma in stata commands. So you have various options available. So this is the syntax of the command summarize, which calculates and displays univariate summary statistics for all the variables or the variables that you specify. So let's start by using the graphic user interface. You know that we have two ways. One, we can just click and click and click and give in some information and get our result, which seems to be easy and user friendly. But as I suggested to you, it is better presently to use the command window and type in it so that you can remember the commands and you are more familiar with the syntax, etc. So later it would be helpful in programming if you like to program in stata. It is possible. So the first method is to use the graphic user interface. So as you are seeing on the screen, if we click on statistics and then on summaries, tables and tests and then on summary statistics, you will get a window which will ask you about the variables you require, etc. But first look at the other things then other than summaries and tables. You have linear models and related binary outcomes, ordinal outcomes. These all are different types of models and regressions. For example, linear models will provide you with the same regression technique that you have already learned. In the second drop-down list where you are seeing summary and descriptive statistics, you have frequency tables and other tables as well, which you will be going to use. So summary tables and tests and then summary and descriptive statistics, it gives another pull-down menu. You will click on summary statistics and you will be asked to give some variable names or specify some options, and then you will get the summary statistics or descriptive statistics, whatever you call it. So a better way is to just type summarize. Let's see what happens when we type summarize. So you are seeing the results on the screen. When you typed summarize, remember you could have typed SU for the minimum or SUM or SUMM or any part of summarize. The minimum is SU. So summarize without variable names mean that you need a summary statistics for all the variables available in the file. Remember, files may have hundreds of variables and this is not a convenient way. So better be habitual to specify your variables. However, you are seeing that just typing summarize without variable names is providing variable names which you can see in the variable window on the right. All of them are given here: make, price, MPG, etc. The last one is foreign. The next column gives the number of observations by default. So mainly you have 74 observations. For rep or repair record of 1978, you have 69 observations. Remember that this file contains automobile data from 1978, data for cars and their makes and models, etc. So one surprising thing is that in front of the variable make, you have number of observations as 0. In fact, they are not 0. This is a string variable. When you had typed describe, you must have noted that all other variables are numeric. They are integer, float, etc. But this one was a string. str18 was displayed in front of it when you wrote describe and make. If you write describe and make and enter, you will get the same description that it's a string variable. String variables store characters. They are not numeric. They cannot be used in any numerical calculation. So this is why a number 0 is displayed. It doesn't have any numeric observation. The second column has means. For example, you are seeing mean in front of price as 6165.257. This is the arithmetic mean, unweighted, because you did not specify any weights. Standard deviation, you know, it's the spread, the square root of variance, which is given for all the numeric variables. You have minimum and maximum values, which can give you the range of the values which are in the variables. You will at a glance know what type of values are stored in the variables. For example, if you look at the variable price, the minimum is 3,291 and the maximum is 15,906, maybe in pound sterling. Look at the last row. In front of the variable foreign under minimum and maximum, minimum value is 0 and maximum value is 1. You must notice that this is a binary variable with values either 0 or 1. If you want to know for sure what are the values in foreign, just say list foreign. You will get the value zeros and ones. This is a binary dichotomous variable. In fact, this variable, if you go through description and labels, you will know that this variable indicates whether the car or vehicle that you are speaking of is an imported one or a local one. So if foreign is equal to 1, this is an imported car. If it is 0, it's a local car, locally manufactured car, for the data given in this file. So these values show you at a glance what type of data you have. So you can have summary statistics of all the variables. But as you remember, what we did with describe and list, we could specify variables and we could specify range of variables. So let's do that with summarize. So if I type summarize, price, MPG and length, this MPG is mileage per gallon, price, the price of the car, length, it is the size of the car. So summarize, price, MPG, length will provide summary statistics for only price, MPG and length. So as you are seeing, number of observations 74 for 3 of them. You have means, standard deviations, minimum, maximum. You can give options to have more summary statistics as well. Now when you type these variable names, you must remember that instead of just typing the variable names, if you get your cursor over the variable name in the variable window, an arrow will appear on the left. If you click on that arrow, the variable name will be automatically typed in the command window. So you can write summarize and then start clicking on the variable names on the arrows on the left of variable names so that you can type them or got them typed without misspelling them. So if you type yourself, sometimes you make spelling mistakes in the variable names. Maybe you have long variable names. Sometimes you have long variable names. So it is better to know what options are available. If the variable names are short, just type them. If they are long or you may misspell them, they are not familiar, just click on the arrow that appears on the left of the variable name in the variable window. It will be automatically typed and a space will also be inserted after every variable name when you click the next variable name. So the result of price and MPG length summary is given here. You have the same summary statistics, observations, mean, standard deviation, minimum and maximum values for only the variables that you specified. Now let's do the range of variables. For example, you want the variables from price to length to be displayed. You will write summarize or just SU, price hyphen length. You will get all the variables from price to length and their summary statistics. Now which variables will be included? It depends on the order which can be changed. It depends on the order that you see in the variable window. The order in which variables are displayed, Stata will start displaying summary statistics for price and then next and next and next until the last variable length that you have specified. So the results are seen. Summarize price hyphen length gives variables from price to length. There are in total 7 variables with different number of observations. One of them has 69 observations, all other have 74. You have means, standard deviations, minimum and maximum values. For example, the repair record of 1978, which is labeled as, which is given a name, variable name rep 78, it has minimum 1 and maximum 5. It seems that it has whole numbers 1 to 5. So these are the number of times the car had been repaired in 1978. Maybe 1 time, 2 times, 3 times or 5 times. Maybe you have only whole numbers. How to verify? You will go back to the list command. You will type list and or tabulate, which we'll learn later on. List rep 78 and you will get the list of the values which may be whole numbers, the number of times the car has been repaired in 1978. So this is how we use summarize. We can have different options in summarize as well. But presently you have used summarize in 3 ways. One, let me repeat, simply summarize. This means you are getting summary statistics of all variables in the memory. You have summarize and variable names, so you are specifying your required variables. You have summarize and range of variables. These are the same 3 ways we had used list and describe. Now look at the command that is displayed on the screen. Summarize price, MPG, length, comma, separator, 2 in parenthesis. Comma means that whatever is written on the right of the comma is an option, which you may or may not specify. So separator and 2 in the parenthesis mean that place a line after every 2 rows. As you are seeing the result below, there is a line after every 2 rows, which makes it easy to read. If you write, say, separator 1 in parenthesis, you will have lines or borders after every row. So you have other options as well. For example, you are seeing options detail, mean only, format. Remember that underlined part is the minimum that you must type. So even in options you have the option that you type only D instead of writing detail. So it is very quick and fast if you know how to type the commands. So when you type comma detail, you have additional statistics other than the ones that have been displayed. If you type mean only means will be displayed, the result will be suppressed. So similarly, you have format and separator as the available options with the command summarize. So summarize provides you summary statistics. And remember that some things we didn't discuss today, we can even use if and in while specifying a summarize statement. For example, you can summarize specific variables, putting a condition that price is less than 4,000. So only the summary statistics where price is less than 4,000 would be displayed on your output window. So you can say in 1/10, which means that you want the summary statistics of the rows from 1 to 10. So this is how you can use summarize alone. You can use summarize with options. You can use summarize with if and in command, as you must have seen in the syntax of summarize. If you are not sure or you forget about it, just type help summarize. You will have the help window with all the information you require, and you will have examples as well. So you can use those examples and practice. So as I told you previously, it is better that you have Stata open with you, and whatever we learn, you just type and perform and execute each operation so that you can have enough practice. And slowly you will come to remember all the commands, and you will feel that instead of using a graphic user interface, it is better to type. ये एक मॉड्यूल हो गया इज़ साहब. You just learned how to use summarize. Now we move to another useful command to know your data. Presently we are discussing the commands to know your data, to know about the nature of your data, to know about what values are stored in your data, what type of variables you have. So the next command is tabulate. So obviously the name specifies you may have some tables relating the data. So let's see how to use tabulate. Remember that you have 2 options, one with the graphic user interface and second typing. And as I am specifying again and again, it is better to type. However, we'll see both ways now. For the syntax of tabulate, you can type help tabulate. You can say help tab. You will get the help window for tabulate command, which will provide you tables. It's also a type of summary statistic, descriptive statistics, because you are trying to know your data, to analyze what type of data you have. So when you type help tabulate, in the help window you will have all the information required for using tabulate. So let's see what is the syntax. So you are seeing that tabulate, variable name, there is no square bracket around variable name, so you have to specify variables. You cannot type only tabulate without variable names. So this is a bit different from the previous commands that you have done. So you must type tabulate and some variable names, or one variable name if you need one-way table. You have in square brackets if and in and wait. These are the things that you have already been using, and you can use them with tabulate. So you can specify conditions like if price is less than 4,000, if make is specific make, etc. You can say in will specify the rows that you require. For example, you need only the first 20 rows to be analyzed. So you can say in 1/20. If you need the rows 21 to 70, you will say in 21/70 for these all commands. And only those rows will be analyzed. So you have different options. These are options because it is optional. I shouldn't say option, because in Stata, when we say option, we mean to say the things after comma, which are seen on the screen as tabulate options, tabulate 1 options. So there are different options which you will come to know later on. So tabulate command is used for one-way tabulation. So better start practicing by writing one variable name as tabulate price, tabulate make, etc. Because sometimes in two-way tables, it is not possible to display the information, as you may have many categories in one variable. So presently let's look at simple tabulate one-way tables. So the first option is to use the graphic user interface. As you are seeing, click on statistics, summaries, tables and tests, frequency tables, and then on one-way tables. So you made 4 clicks: statistics, summaries, tables and tests, frequency tables, and then one-way tables. So after 4 clicks, even then you have not finished the job. You will be asked which variables, etc. So as I specify again and again, graphic user interface is time consuming. It is user friendly, but time consuming. So if you just type tabulate and variable name, you will get your results directly. As for example, you can type tabulate rep 78, repair record of 78. So the results are in front of you. You wrote tabulate rep 78, so you got a frequency table. Repair record of 1978 is the label of the variable. So 1 to 5 are the 5 different categories or variable values. Frequencies are given as 2, 8, 30, etc. Total 69. So we have 69 observations in rep. This means when you say that others have 74 observations and you have 69 observations in the rep 1978, this means that you have some missing values. You have 5 missing values. Remember that a missing value in Stata is not just a space or blank space. It's a dot presently. There are other formats as well, but remember that when you see a dot, it means a space. But here I want to specify something. If you have your data in Excel and you put dot instead of a missing value, when you will copy and paste, if you copy and paste in Stata, this dot will be taken as a string, as a text, as a character. So it will create problems. So remember that Stata treats dot as a missing value. So here, as you are seeing, you have 5 missing values. This is why we have 69 observations. You can just say list rep 78 if rep 78 is equal to 2 times equal. In inverted commas, write dot. So you will get it if it is missing. So you can say count if rep 78 is missing is equal to dot. In this result that you are seeing, you have actually frequency table and the percentages and cumulative frequencies, cumulative percentages. So the total of percentage must be 100, which is obvious. So you can at a glance see that the values that rep 78 may assume range from 1 to 5, and as we previously saw, they are whole numbers. You got the car repaired once or twice or thrice and so on. So this is why you have frequencies in front of these numbers. For example, the frequency that you see in front of 1 is 2. This means 2 cars are such that they had been repaired once in 1978. So you can know about the variable rep 78 by typing tabulate rep 78 to get the one-way frequency table. Now let's tabulate MPG, mileage per gallon. So tabulate MPG, you have a title mileage, MPG, mileage per gallon. So you can see that it starts from 12 miles with a frequency of 2% of 2.7% of total observations and cumulative of 2.7. Note that at the end you have a word more, which means that the screen is so small that all the values of MPG could not be displayed. You have few options here. You can just click on more. The data will scroll up and you will see other variables. You can just say, instead of clicking on more, you can just click on the button Q to quit. If you don't want to quit, if you want to see all the observations, just press any button, for example, space bar. You'll press the space bar, data will scroll up, you will see the other observations, and you can continue. But sometimes you have thousands of observations and you want to quit. So press Q or click on break, the cross you see in the upper icon part of the Stata window. So these values that are given here show the frequency table for mileage per gallon. As complete results are not displayed, you can press any key to continue or Q to quit. Now look at a specific statement which is very interesting. It uses summarize as an option. The summarize is the command that you just learnt some time back. Now summarize is used as an option of table 8. Let's understand the statement. I have written table 8 foreign, comma means rest are options in this command, summarize, and in parentheses you have MPG. So in fact we are summarizing MPG. Remember, summarize provides mean and standard deviation, etc. So we are summarizing MPG, but instead of writing summarize MPG, which gives all the summary of all the variables combined, all the values combined, we have said tabulate foreign and then summarize MPG. So foreign has two values, 0 and 1. So domestic cars and foreign cars, imported cars and local cars. So we have separate summary statistics of the variable MPG based on each category of foreign. So foreign domestic cars or foreign or imported cars, you have summary statistics. Look at the screen, you have domestic 19.826 is the mean of domestic cars and 24.77 is the mean of foreign cars. Summary of mileage, MPG. So you can quickly see that the imported cars or foreign cars have a better mileage of 24.77 miles per gallon. You have a standard deviation of 4.7 for the domestic cars and 6.6 for the foreign cars. So again, you have a higher standard deviation or variance over here. Frequency, which is 52 and 22, mean you have the number of observations for domestic cars is 52 and the number of foreign cars is 22. You have data on 52 domestic cars and 22 imported cars. The total, as you know, is 74. So what we did here is, instead of writing summarize MPG, we tried to have the summary of MPG for each category of foreign, the variable foreign. So foreign had two categories. So we have the means, for example, as 19 and 24, separately for domestic and foreign. And then we have the overall mean, that is 21.29, which is the mean. If we just would have written summarize MPG, we would have got a mean of 21.29. So this is the way we can combine statements. So summarize is an option with table 8. So say table 8 foreign means you are seeking summary statistics according to the categories of foreign. So remember, if you write table 8 table 8 price, so price has many categories. It's a continuous variable, you have many different prices. So avoid such statements. So you just learned how to use summarize and table 8 together. This time summarize was an option of table 8. As I told you, avoid statements where you write table 8 according to a variable which may have many categories. That will cause problems. So as we knew that foreign had only two categories, how did we know that? We could type table 8 foreign, and you will know the table, frequency table of foreign, it has two values. Just type in table 8 foreign and you will get the detail. Foreign is the variable name, which is a dummy variable, which is a dichotomous variable, a binary variable that has values 0 and 1 that specifies whether the car is a foreign car or a local car. So since you have only two categories, you have easy to look tables which show the frequency tables of the variable MPG according to the categories of foreign separately. So for the imported cars, you have separate summary statistics of MPG, and for the local cars, you have separate summary statistics of mileage per gallon. And you have a total as well. As you are seeing on the screen, you have three rows. One is the summary statistics of mileage per gallon for the domestic cars only. The second is summary statistics for the foreign cars only. And the third one is for both of them combined. So there is a specific statement with table 8 that you can use. It's called tab 1. So if you look at the screen, you see a statement tab 1 foreign rep 78. So tab 1 foreign and rep 78 is used to tabulate when we need tables for several variables at a time. If we use table 8, we need to write table 8 foreign, you will get the result, and then table 8 rep 78, you will get another table as a result. But what you have to do is to type the command tabulate foreign, you will get the table, and then another command. So if you want to do it at one time, for example, you have 3 or 4 or 5 or several variables for which you need the table, frequency tables, so you can just use a single command, tab 1 and variable names. So you will get one-way frequency tables for each variables displayed together. For example, as you are seeing the results on the right, we typed tab 1 foreign and rep 78. So we have two one-way frequency tables separately for foreign and for rep 78. If we would have typed tab 1 foreign rep 78 and price, we would have a third table for the frequency table of price. So tab 1 is a convenient way to use tabulate. In fact, it's the same as tabulate. It provides the same results. You have the same one-way frequency table, but you only typed once and you got tabulate, you got the effect of tabulate command for each of the variable you have typed or you have listed in the tab 1 command. So this is very convenient sometimes. You just discussed tabulate, which provides one-way frequency tables. We may have two-way frequency tables as well, although it is not always possible for all the variables to have two-way frequency tables. But for some variables, sometimes with one variable with fewer categories or low number of categories, you may have two-way frequency tables. Now what to do for that is first practice for using the graphic user interface. So the picture you are seeing shows the way you can use the graphic user interface. You click on statistics, summaries, tables and tests, and then on frequency tables, and then on two-way tables with measure of association. There are other two-way tables as well, multiple one-way tables as well. So but presently just practice for two-way tables. So 1, 2, 3 and 4 clicks and then a window will open. You will have to specify variables. So this is not very convenient in my personal opinion. So as two-way tabulate is a different command, it's the same in fact as tabulate but with a different syntax. For tabulate you wrote one variable name at a time, but this time you are going to write two variables. So look at the syntax. Tabulate, variable name 1, variable name 2. You have two variables. If, in and wait are optional as they are placed in square brackets. After comma you have options. We have different options. How to know about these options? Just say help tabulate and then look at what options are available. So in the menu, this menu is given in the help window. If you write help tabulate, you will get a help window for two-way tables if you click on two-way tables. If you scroll down, you will get the menu which will tell you how to use the graphic user interface to have two-way tables. And is given below as well how to click and use that. But you can type as well. It's more convenient in my opinion. You type tabulate foreign and rep 78. Remember that foreign had two categories. So it is easy to get two-way tables for that, easy tables. Repair 78 had 5 categories. So look at the results. When you typed tabulate foreign and rep 78, you have the car types in the first column, that is the variable foreign, which specifies whether the car is local or imported. And then you have the repair record 1978 as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now you have frequencies of each of the value which lies under this category. For example, the first value is 2, which means for repair record of 1 and for domestic cars, you have 2 observations. So you have 2 cars which were repaired once in 1978 and they are local cars. And 0 below that means that there was no imported car which was repaired only once. Rather, if you look at this next column, there was no imported car which was repaired twice. So there are 3, 9 and 9 imported cars that were repaired 3 times or 4 times or 5 times. So in fact these numbers 2, 8, 0, 27, 9, these are frequencies or the number of observations that lie in a specific category. So in total you have 48 domestic and 21 foreign cars. In total you have 69 cars, and repair record of 1978 is from 1 to 5. For example, if I look under 5 and in front of foreign, the number is 9. So you have 9 imported or foreign cars that were repaired 5 times in 1978. So you have a total as well. So at least one variable, remember, should have a low number of categories, otherwise you will get a message of too many variables. For example, if you write table 8 price MPG, price has many categories. So you will not get tables, or you may get error messages or messages like there are too many values, too many cells, it can't be displayed, etc. Presently we are going through different commands in Stata that describe your data, that provide you summary statistics and provide you frequency tables. So I can label all these commands as knowing your data. So presently you are trying to know your data in Stata. In Stata means in the file that is loaded in the memory. So another useful command for summary statistics and different description of variables is tabstat, T-A-B-S-T-A-T, together. So tabstat also provides you statistics like means, variances, etc. in a useful way as compared to the previous commands. So it is a useful one. So look at the syntax. So tabstat, you must type it, all of it. Variable list, there are no square brackets. So with tabstat, you need to provide some variables, one or several variables. You have square brackets in front of around if and in and wait, which means that it's an option to specify a condition with if, and it's an option to specify the rows of observations that you want to analyze by using the in command. Waits are also optional. So you have comma and options, which are the options actually that you can use after comma for modifying your tabstat result. So let's see what tabstat does. So if you want to use the graphic user interface, you will click on statistics, then summary tables and tests, and this time the third one, other tables, and then compact table of summary statistics. So this suggests that tabstat would be providing compact results as compared to other commands that you have been going through. So if you make these 3-4 clicks, you will have a window to specify your variables and etc., and you will say okay, and you will get the results. So how to know what to click if you forgot about it? You will say help and tabstat, enter. You will have a help window again for tabstat, and when you scroll down you will have menu. Under menu you will have the way you can use the graphic interface or click to make the effective use of tabstat command. So instead of the graphic user interface, better type. So if you type tabstat price MPG rep78 foreign, so you are specifying 4 variables. And if you just write tabstat price MPG rep78 and foreign by specifying 4 variables, you get the means of these 4 variables. So if you don't specify an option with tabstat, you will be getting only arithmetic means for tabstat, which are shown as, say, 6,165 as the mean of price, 21.29 as the arithmetic mean of MPG, and so on. So what if I want means and standard deviations or some other statistics? So I do that by writing an option after comma in the tabstat command. For example, if I write tabstat, variable names, comma, stats, and then in parentheses I provide which statistics are required. For example, n, number of observations, mean, standard deviation, SD for standard deviation, min and max for minimum and maximum values. You have others as well. How to know which ones? Type help and tabstat and look at the options. It's very easy. So let's see what happens if we type in this way. So you are seeing on the screen tabstat price MPG, and after comma stats n mean SD min max, which provides you with a descriptive table where you have the statistics, that is number of observations, means, standard deviations, minimum and maximum values for different variables. For example, price and MPG. These were the variables we specified. So you have 74 observations for both. You have the arithmetic means, you have the standard deviations, and the range of values, which makes you understand how the values are stored or what is the nature of observations. So another very good use of tabstat is to use by, by as an option. So look at the command and the result. So if you type tabstat variable names, so this time we have 4 variables, and after comma we have by foreign, by parentheses, in parentheses you write foreign. Foreign, remember, is a variable with 2 categories, domestic and imported cars. So you will have all that you had previously for these variables as summary statistics, but this time for domestic cars separately and imported cars separately and total as well. So look at the table. So you have the arithmetic mean of price 6,072 for domestic cars, 6,384 for imported cars. So quickly you can know that imported cars are a bit expensive. So you have the weights, the domestic car is heavier. You have the mileage for foreign or imported cars is better. You have the repair record. Surprisingly, the imported cars, remember this data pertains to probably United Kingdom or USA. So imported cars, for example, Japanese cars have a greater repair record. They are repaired more than the domestic cars are repaired. So you have a total as well. So what you see here are arithmetic means for domestic and foreign cars and a total separately by using the by option in tab stat. If you type comma by and in parentheses you give some variable which has lot of categories, you will get a large table, and sometimes it is not convenient to observe. So be careful about specifying your by option. As you remember, we gave some statistics with the tab stat command that we required. Previously you got an example with by option where you got only the means of the variables you required for domestic and foreign cars separately. But we can have other statistics as well. For example, we just specify stats and mean standard deviation, and we will get n mean and standard deviation for domestic cars and foreign cars and a total separately. See how. You type tab stat price MPG, comma, stats are n mean and standard deviation, and you want them separately for all categories of foreign, variable foreign, that is foreign or imported cars. So you specify by and in parentheses foreign. The results are as you see. You have for domestic cars and foreign cars and a total of combined observations separately. You have the n, which is 52 for domestic cars. You have mean 6,072 for domestic cars, and 3,097 is the standard deviation. So they are in the order that you specified. For example, if you write stats, n, mean and SD, first you will get n, then the mean, then the standard deviation. So this is very useful to have compact, comprehensive tables providing you summary statistics. Now look at two different other ways combining the if and in statement that you have already used, which can also be used with tab stat. So you are seeing two statements. I leave the result to you. You can type and see what results come. So tab stat price MPG in 1 of 10. This means first 10 rows you specify the stats. You can even, in the second statement you see, we can specify if price is less than 4,000, which means that you are specifying that provide the statistics only for the observations where price is less than 4,000. So you can specify different options and you can have the tables as you like. Now let's go through the command correlate. As you know, correlation shows the association between variables and you can know the nature of a relationship. So it's a simple command. As you use the other commands with variable names, variable ranges, or without variables, you can use the correlate command. Look at the syntax. So you see that correlate is the command where COR is underlined. This underlining means that you can type COR and it will be treated as if you have typed correlate. So variable list is also optional, if, in, wait are optional, as you have square brackets around them. So you have correlate options which you can know by seeking help for the command correlate. The menu shows that you can click on statistics, summary tables and tests, and then click on summary of descriptive statistics, and you will have another pull down menu and move below, down and down and down, and you will have correlations and covariances. Obviously when you click on it, you will have another window which wants you to specify which variables and what options you require. So otherwise you can just type correlate, price, MPG, weight and length. In this example, we have 4 variables that must be correlated. So as a result, you have a correlation matrix. So look at the correlation matrix. In the diagonal, you have 1. Obviously, the correlation of price to price is 1 and the MPG to MPG is 1. And remember that the upper diagonal is empty, because if you remember, correlation is symmetric. The correlation XY is equal to the correlation YX. So in fact, what you are seeing below in the lower diagonal is a reflection of the upper diagonal. So you don't need to write the upper diagonal. So you can have all the correlations from the lower diagonal. So look at the correlation matrix. For example, the correlation of price and mileage per gallon is negative, minus 0.46. The correlation of price and weight is 0.53. So not very high correlation. There is a very high correlation between weight and length. For example, if you look up at weight and in front of length, you have a value of 0.946. This is very obvious because heavier car are the ones which have greater size. So more the length, more the weight, and this was as expected. So correlation matrix shows you at a glance the association between various variables. So you can specify options with correlation. For example, the option means. It will give you means as well as correlations. So let's see what happens. Correlate variables, comma means. The result you are seeing specifies that first you have the means for all the variables. You have means and standard deviation, minimum and maximum values. So when you type in comma means, you will get all the summary statistics as well as the correlations. So it is like the tab stat command where you got mean, standard deviation, min and max, but you have also correlations. I think it is more useful than tab stat. So this correlate with an option means provides you with summary statistics as well as the correlation matrix. Another option is covariance. So if I write comma covariance in front of the same command, remember that if you have typed this command already and you don't need to type it again, you just use your keyboard buttons page up and page down, you will get several commands. Another option is look at the review window, you have all the commands you have typed, just click on it again and modify the last part. For example, if I click page up, I'll get the previous command that I typed, that is correlate blah 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 and means. So I'll remove means and type covariance. The result is as you see, correlate price, MPG, weight and length, comma covariance provides you with the covariance matrix. The values you see are the covariances of MPG and price and weight and length. So what is the covariance of price to price? That is in fact what you call a variance. So you have the covariance matrix instead of the correlation matrix when you use the correlate command. So today we learned several useful commands for knowing your data. This was the second series of commands that you can use for knowing your data properly in depth. You have used correlate, you have used tab stat, you have used summarize, you have already used list and describe. So remember, we have several commands: list, describe, summarize, tabulate, tab stat, tab 1. So make a list of them, write help in each command, try to understand what it does. The more you practice, you will be familiar with Stata. And why I say to use the command window is that when you type in the command window, you start remembering the commands. If you use the graphic user interface or just click for your ease, for making your life easy, presently it would look fine, but in the long run it is not good for you. So to begin with Stata, I would again strongly suggest that you type in commands as well as the graphic user interface, practice both of them. So later on it will be helpful for you. Thank you very much for today.